How's it going? This is Keanu Yamamoto with the Coachers Podcast, sitting here with Coach Brett Elliott, head coach of Lewis and Clark College. Coach, take it away, man. Tell us about yourself, your progression, family, all that good stuff.
Yeah, Yams, good to see you, brother. Yeah, so I'm Brett Elliott, born and raised in Lake Oswego, Oregon, and started coaching, I guess this would be 2000, I think we're about 2007. So started coaching at Linfield part-time. I was playing arena football and needed something to do in the falls, and really liked working camps as a player back in the day. One of my most rewarding relationships I've ever had is with my high school head coach, Steve Corey. And so I was playing arena ball, and 28 years old, and realized I probably needed to figure out the next step in my life. The Georgia Force were fun to play for, but I think they have an age limit at 30. Once you hit that, you get kicked out of the league. So was kind of coaching part-time at Linfield, and then ended up stopping over in Starkville, Mississippi on my way back from Atlanta from an arena football season, and there was a graduate assistant spot open there with Dan Mullen, who was my quarterback coach at Utah. And so I slept over there for a night. We talked, and instead of coming back to Oregon, I just stayed there and started working spring ball, and was up for basically a week straight trying to figure out how to use Visio. I'd written some paper, I'd written papers in classes before, right? So I'd use Word, but then these smart little young 20-year-olds would show me this Visio, how to draw all these plays on a computer. And it was an adjustment. It was an adjustment for a computer illiterate person like myself. So definitely pissed everybody off there for a week. Somehow kept the graduate assistant spot, and then was there for 5 years and off and running, and made my way out to James Madison in Virginia for a year, and then Texas State for a year, back to Mississippi State for a year, then back to Texas State for a year. And at Division I level, you win, you move, and if you lose, you move, because you're getting fired. And about that time, I was really wanting to start a family, and I was born and raised in the same town my whole life, and I thought there were tremendous advantages to that as a kid, being in one spot and getting to know the community, and so I wanted that for my kids. And so made a decision with my wife to move back to Oregon and kind of get off the Division I train into this more small college field, and I've fallen in love with it, and found kind of my sweet spot, where you got guys that are invested at the same level at Division I. We run a similar type program with a little better quality of life, in terms of job security, stuff like that. At the same time, I found that it's really rewarding at Division III level that you have tremendous kids. I mean, it really is the love of the game. The guys that play football, they're all there for the love of the game. They're all in. The motivational aspect of coaching is not nearly as demanding as at Division I. Guys are banging on the weight room to show up to lift weights. Guys are there early at practice. They just want a ball, and so that's a dream for a coach. So made our way back to Linfield in 2019 and 2025, early 25, and then I had the great opportunity to come to Lewis and Clark, kind of close to where I'm from. About 5 minutes. Parents met at the law school here, and get a little closer to the city, and a program that's really been on the rise, and a program that's trajectories in great shape, and previous coaches have been awesome, setting it up with Jay Losey and Joe Bushman, and then getting there, the assistants there have done a tremendous job, and so it really made my job as adjustment pretty easy. So that's kind of my history, and we're at Lewis and Clark now, ready to take on the Northwest Conference and do some unprecedented things here.
I love that, Coach. Tell us a little bit about your playing career, because I think you have pretty interesting stories in regards to your playing career.
Yeah, playing career. I shut down 2 leagues, professional leagues. I don't know how many people can say that. I played in the last year of the original Arena League, shut that down. Went over to NFL Europe, played in the last year of that. I shut that down. So I don't know if you want me playing any of your startup leagues, but playing career, yeah, I played over at Utah. At high school, I went out to Utah. Actually, it was between Oregon State and Utah, my man.
Yeah.
Those were kind of the choices. My entire high school staff basically went to Oregon State, so it was kind of I got more of a little bit of a shock that I went out to Utah. I want to experience something new, and really what got me was flying into those mountains. On my official visit, I knew that was home. I'd never seen anything like it, and so I went out to Utah, played for Ron McBride originally. He was the head coach. I don't know if you know who Ron McBride is, but an awesome man, great motivator, someone I love and respect. But he wasn't like the biggest X's and O's head coach, and so it was interesting to go from that to Urban Meyer comes in my sophomore year, and who is like the first time I talked to him was drawing up empty formations. It was just a stark contrast going from one head coach and just different styles. Not saying one's better or worse, but that was my first kind of introduction to you can do this business a different multitude of ways. So that's where at Utah. That's where I obviously met Dan Mullen. Played there. Started about 10 games there and loved it. Was really happy with my choice, and I'm getting hurt. Broke my wrist. And last play of the game against Texas A&M, and then the next week, my backup we were going against Cal's back in the Mountain West Conference, Pac-10 Thursday night ESPN games. So it was Alex Smith was my backup, and it was his first start versus Cal, was starting a junior college kid named Aaron Rodgers. So it was a pretty, if you go back and look at that game, those both their first starts, and then you fast forward a couple years there with the number one picks kind of battling it to come out. So he beats Aaron Rodgers, and then beats Colorado State on the road, and then comes back for another Thursday night Mountain West Pac-10 game and beats Oregon at home, which I was really hoping to get back for, which I was. And Coach Meyer said, Brett, we're good. We're going to roll this Alex kid. So then ended up finishing the year out there. Didn't want to leave, but I wanted to play. Quarterback's a unique position. You're sitting there on the sideline and your best friend's on the field, but at the same time, you're hoping he struggles a little bit so you can get in, right? It's a weird, I talk about it all the time with our guys. It's a very weird mental space you're in as a backup quarterback, and you gotta practice. I mean, it's a challenge. I mean, it really is, especially when you're close with the guys at your position. So you have this weird dichotomy of you're rooting for your team to do well, wanting to do well, but the only way you're going to get in a game is if he struggles. So.
Hey, that's a Lewis and Clark word right there. Dichotomy. I don't think I learned that one at Linfield.
You gotta be a pioneer. So then I decided to transfer, play my last 2 years at Linfield, and ended up winning a national championship, and then losing my junior year, and then losing and kind of getting upset my senior year, which I still think about that every second of that game. It's crazy. It's 25 years ago, but that game was unbelievable. Shootout against Wisconsin Whitewater, and I made some terrible plays at the end that just don't sit well with me still to this day. But met best friends of my life, had an awesome time. So I played there, finished that out, and then, like I said, I got a cup of coffee in the NFL with the Chargers for a couple of years, and then bounced around and CFL and arena football and over in Europe, and then hung them up. So, arena football, though, that was my sweet spot. I was a weak-armed quarterback that could put the ball in the right spot and get it out quick, and all that arena's 3 steps. Longest throw you're going to make is about 40 yards. So the CFL was not my cup of tea. You got to either have a rocket arm or you got to be athletic, and I was neither one.
Well, Coach, appreciate you sharing that, man.
Yeah, man.
Coaching, was that always the next step after playing?
No.
And if you weren't going into coaching, what were you doing? I feel like you could be commercial real estate, man.
No. I was the original plan was I was going to be the beat writer for the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah.
What?
Fly around on the plane and cover the team, and I grew up.
Did you have some leads, or was that just the dream?
No, but that's why I did communications. I actually covered Linfield's basketball teams and tennis teams for the Review there. Had a radio show like you're doing a little bit. I think we got to 42 listeners one night. We had a 35-mile radius. So
That's awesome.
A little clicker beside you can kind of let you know we're high-fiving that we got 42. I think it was our NFL draft preview night. It was riveting. It was a great hour of radio.
That's pretty cool, Coach. How do you feel about? I know you're a big Blazers guy. What are we thinking about? The roster? What are you thinking about Dame coming back? I'm hopping on the bandwagon. Two of my college roommates are big Blazer guys.
All right, we'll take it. We'll take it. I don't know, it's been such a tough run of it. I feel bad for the new generation because I grew up with parades downtown. I grew up with every business would have a sign, a Rip City sign in their window. I grew up with Terry Porter, Clyde Drexler, Duckworth, Buck Williams, Jerome Kersey days. So it's been a tough go of it here for the next generation. But maybe you'll be the key to get us going. You never know.
We'll see, man. I'm excited that Dame's back. What is the why behind coaching? Why do you coach?
Yeah, simple. It's to see when you I remember at Linfield and when I first started part-time with the quarterbacks, when you work on a drill and you work on it, your guys are struggling with it, and then you keep working on it and you see it come to fruition in a game. It was like a drug. It was so rewarding. And that was it. And I was hooked. And then obviously you build from that, from just individual drills to schemes of it to putting guys in the right spot, and just the selfish reason, right, is that reward that you get from seeing something that you work so hard on and seeing the joy and pleasure that your guys work so hard in and see it come to fruition. That's why, honestly. That's what hooked me initially. I'm not a coach's son. I didn't grow up wanting to be a coach. I didn't really grow up being around the game, to be honest. I played all the sports. Football was another one of them. And then really getting to high school, and playing for Steve Corey. I was a basketball guy really growing up mostly. Did all the travel, the AU teams. Really thought I would play that in college as a young high schooler. And then, then I was 6'2" and white and couldn't jump. So I started realizing that was going to be a short-lived dream. I could shoot the lights out, but that only gets you so far. So my high school coach, Steve Corey, we would go from basketball season straight to football season. And it was like, I couldn't wait my junior and senior years of football because of that camaraderie, because of how it takes. I mean, it sounds cheesy and cliche, but in basketball, you can do what you want to do and be on your own and be fine, right? And be successful or fail. In football, especially on offense, you have to have 11 guys working together. And I think that reward, that locker room feeling in the locker room after doing that, working together with your boys all week long, and then seeing it come to fruition on a Saturday. And that reward, that feeling in the locker room was made me love football. And Coach Corey really promoted that. He really promoted the team aspect, the bonding, the culture part of it that I never had in basketball. So that's what made me love football. And then started coaching. Obviously I wanted to replicate that as much as possible. And so that's what I've been trying to do.
When you were giving your introduction, you were talking about, just kind of throughout your progression, you talked about, if you win, you move. If you lose, you move. And you've always moved a lot of places at the Division I level, and I know that can get a little tiresome right there. But was there ever a point in your career when you're going through this? And I know you mentioned you wanted to start a family, but was there ever a point where you're like, man, I really thought I could have got this job, I didn't get this job, and then it, for whatever reason, it kind of hurt the confidence a little bit, set in a little self-doubt? Was there ever a point inside there where it's like, oh man?
Great question. Definitely. So I was at Mississippi State last year. That would be 2017, I believe, and I just come back from Texas State. So I know I'm bouncing around a whole bunch, but essentially my first stint around at Mississippi State, this is coach's pod, right? So they'll get the language. I was a graduate assistant of quality control, assistant quarterback coach, right? And when I came back, I was the quarterback coach. And so we had a great season. Actually, when I got there, I was a little nervous going because the rumor was, Coach Mullen, they were a little bit on the hot seat. They'd gone 6-6 the year before. If they did another season like that, they might be fired. I might have 1 year at Mississippi State. Well, we ended up having a great season. Coach Mullen's kind of the talk. He's the one you go on to ESPN. And where's Mullen going? And so it came down to Florida, Tennessee. So we're in offensive meetings, and he's saying, Google, go find a house. Where do you want to live? Gainesville or Knoxville, and things like that. And then all of a sudden, he takes the job. We're playing Ole Miss Thanksgiving weekend, and after the game, he's gone, and nobody can talk to him. And he's in I think he's in Florida, probably interviewing. So the word gets out that he gets the job, and usually, if you're finding out that he gets the job from somebody else, you're in trouble, right? And so, kind of the writing was on the wall there. Later in the week, we talk. He doesn't know what's going to happen. He's going to Florida. The guy I replaced, the reason why I got to Mississippi State was Brian Johnson had gone to Houston to be the offensive coordinator. Call plays there because kind of Mullen ran the offense at Mississippi State. Coach Mullen tells me that, he's decided between me and this guy, Brian Johnson, to bring to Florida. So I was really hurt, He ended up bringing Brian, and it was tough. It was a tough situation. That was my first. I played for Mullen. I knew him very well. I babysat for him. We were extremely close. Now, Brian also did as well at Utah. I knew him as well, and he's a great coach. Obviously, you can see the success he's had in the NFL now with the Redskins and Eagles. So he ended up bringing Brian, and it broke me. It really did. It was tough. It was a tough. I felt like I came in and helped the offense get better and get to a point where we could get that job, right? Where we weren't no longer on the hot seat. Now we were the hot ones. So I was hurt. I was hurt emotionally. I was hurt everything, professionally, personally. I didn't get it. I was younger. I was immature. I looked at it only from my lens, and I went in the hole, man. I'm not lying. I was in the jar for a good couple of weeks. Went down to the Senior Bowl I didn't have a job. Going from a top 25 SEC program and helping get the program going the right direction to out of a job. And so That was definitely the hardest moment of my coaching career. That was eye-opening. It was like, geez, you can do everything right and still be begging, begging at the football convention for a job, tapping on shoulders. And so that's life, but that's not a life I wanted to live every couple of years. And so that was a really eye-opening experience to this business. And I'm not saying it's bad for everybody. It just wasn't for me and what I wanted out of my life and my journey. Been to the top, coached at the highest level. I loved it. It was fun, but at the same time, I loved coaching ball, and finding that balance is something that I sought after that. I ended up going back to Texas State for a year, and we didn't do very well, and we got fired. And so then now I'm looking for another job. And so that was really the kind of the icing on the cake there, was to get me to kind of get off that train, if that makes sense.
When I think of Brett Elliott, I think charismatic, high energy.
Not on this podcast.
Transparent. What would you say your coaching philosophy is?
Gosh, that's a good question. I like what you said. That was good. That sounded good. I like that. No, no, our coaching, my coaching philosophy ties into our program's philosophy. What we want out of our program. We want to be competitive. You come to a meeting of mine, you're gonna play Wordle. You're gonna do trivia. We're gonna do board wars. We're gonna compete in everything we do. I love that. That's how I grew up. Everything that we did, we would compete, and then development. And so that's something that I constantly seek to develop myself as a coach. Talk to guys like you, but at the same time, we want to develop our players. And so everything's focused around those two key components, competition and development. And if something that we're doing doesn't fit into those components, we're not going to do it. There's only so much time in a day, and that's what we want our program to be, and that's what my coaching philosophy is.
How was that transition process? Because you got there early February.
Yeah.
How was that transition process? Yeah. Finish out the recruiting class. Right into frickin' spring ball.
It was wild. So I got the job, and so obviously called a couple guys, mentors. Mullen being one. Didn't quite feel comfortable reaching out to Coach Smith yet for another one. Coach Corey, another one, right? A little different level at high school, but just asked him, what do I do? Because exactly right. Like, okay, I get there at a time when recruiting is peak high. We're about to start spring ball. Raising money at this level, Division III, is a huge component, right, of being a head coach. And so, what do I do? What's the first thing I do? So they all, both guys said to a man, that get around your players first, the team, get to know the team. And so that's what I did. I did the first week, kind of locked myself in my office and met with each kid for about 30 minutes and heard their story on the team that were coming back, and I let them get to know me a little bit. Just got to know the guys on the team, and that was the number one thing that I heard, and I really wanted to do it in my heart of hearts. Thought that was really important. So before I did anything, I met with everybody on the team and got to know their stories and learn what makes them tick, and they got to learn me a little bit, and I think that really built a good foundation to jump off into spring ball, and then it was off and running recruiting. And now the benefit that I had was we kept our 3 assistants full-time guys, and so I have to give a shout out to those guys, because we ended up signing the biggest class in Lewis and Clark football history, largely due to them. They were awesome. For coaches listening to this, right, it's easy if your coach leaves to kind of just pack it in and start looking. And what those guys did is they kept their head down and really helped were the leaders of a great class. So I'm excited for our staff. We got awesome staff, and that's a huge thing. Obviously, is filling out your staff as a new head coach. That was another thing I had to think about. And so we kind of kept the main guys and then filled in with ancillary guys. But the main thing when I first got the job, I want to get to know the team.
I know you mentioned Coach Losey and Coach Corey. Who else have been and Coach Mullen? Who have been some of your greatest influences aside from those guys?
So Coach Corey, Coach Mullen, Coach Losey, Coach Smith. He's a big influence, especially in the way he raised his family while being a head coach. Corey and Smith, those two guys, I watched them have young kids and really integrate them in the program and be able to do both at a high level. I'll be a great father and be a great coach. I do think it's hard to do both at a very high level. My wife works as well full time, and she mentions it too, where it's hard to be great at both. But we're finding that sweet spot. So those two guys were great mentors for that. Mullen, really program building and how to run a program, and in terms of offensive schematics, probably he'd be my biggest influence. But really, those 3 guys I would say are the main. Smith, Losey, I guess 4 guys, Smith, Losey, Corey, and Mullen.
I like it. Talk to me a little bit about the opponent scout process, right? You're going in. Are you gonna be calling it this year, or are you just having a little influence? What's?
It's up in the air, Yams. It's up in the air. Don't quite know yet.
All right. Well, tell me opponent scout process. What's your opponent scout process look like? First thing you're
Yeah.
watching. Are you doing cut ups? Are you watching cut ups? Are you watching game?
No, I love it. I love it. I love talking. I love the nerdy talk. So Sundays, I don't get it. I don't usually start till around about 1 on a Sunday. I like to spend time with the fam Sunday morning. Got the games on. We're cooking breakfast, and then I'll usually roll in around 1. And I've watched the game about 4 times in my bed on my phone or my iPad the night before. So I have that game, the previous game, kind of put away, much to the chagrin of my wife, and then kind of shut it off till about 1. I get in, and then I start with probably unique. I know most people start watching games. I watch first, second down by formation. So I'll get in there, our base formations, and I'll start watching it, and just to figure out what they're going to be majority of the time. Sort it up just by coverage, front, blitz, stunt, and first, second down by formation. And then I got a great snapshot of what we want to do base run-wise, and that's usually where it starts on Sundays is kind of your base run game. And then that's really all Sunday and first, second down. Then Monday, start finishing that. And Tuesday's kind of third down. Wednesday's red zone. And then I don't watch the full games till later in the week. So usually around Thursday, Friday, I'll watch all the full games just to get a feel of their DC's calls, his flow of the calls, just some tendencies like that. And then start looking at a little bit of personnel stuff. I'm not as big a personnel guy. I mean, if someone jumps off the screen, then we got to chip them on our protections. I'm more of a holistic view, and then usually kind of assign personnel stuff to assistants if we do need to do something a little bit different in case the guy's a big disruptor. But for the most part, it's the general first, second down right away. I get a great feel for a team that way by formation. And then we go to our specific field alignments and downs.
Is that something you kind of developed just throughout your process and something you liked and you were comfortable with, or did you learn that from someone? Because usually most of the coordinators that I've been around, it's like, okay, I'm going to grind 3 or 4 of the most recent games, and then I'm going to go into the situational cut-ups.
Yeah, I think I kind of came up with my own, to be honest. That's how I did it as a GA when I would break down games. You watch a full game and you're like, God damn, these guys do everything, right? There's so much stuff that's going on, and so I like narrowing it down to what are they running like 70% of the time, and I get a lot better feel for that instead of the games. I get kind of all over the place, third downs and red zones, and it's hard to get a good feel. You get a good idea, but not like I don't know where I got it from. I think probably as a GA, breaking games down and trying to figure out what I'm going to call stuff first, right? As you break it down, you got to figure out where you're going to call it. And so the easiest way to do that is to sort it by formation, to see it over and over again, so you see the little differences.
Let me get your best or favorite GA story. If it's PG-13. If it's PG-13.
I have a great one. Yeah, what's the cussing level on this?
Oh, cuss. Go ahead. Go ahead as much as you want.
All right, because it kind of helps the story. So, okay, I'm at Mississippi State. This is actually quality control now, I think. We just hired a new receiver coach. His name is, I hate to put him on blast, but he kind of deserves it, to be honest. His name was Tim Brewster. And so I'm in charge of like the playbook, right? And like all the Monday, installs, right, of each week. So we put in this option route by our slot receiver. Okay, and the drawings, we were, Visio, right? We talked about Visio. You got to be very exact at this level, right? So the option route had about 4 different arrows on it, right? Depending on what the defense does. So it could be a little hitch, it could be break out, break in, right? Take the top off. So we get out to practice, and the receiver coach, we run this play that I had drawn up, and it's called a choice route. So we get out there, and our receivers keep doing it wrong. Right? They keep breaking out when they should break in. They keep breaking in when they should break out. So Coach Mullen finally loses his cool and just goes off on the receivers and Coach Brewster about how if the Sam's inside, we need to break out, because he kept breaking in, and just stops practice. One of those classic, like, we've all been there. You're on the other side of the field, and you stop because it's so loud, and you're just trying to figure out what's going on. And so, sure enough, I get back into the office, and at the time, after practice, and the office was lined. It was like a straight line, so you had all the computers were on a wall, and we all sat kind of next to each other. And I hear Brewster come in as I'm like doing the post-practice data input, and he's standing right behind me as I'm working. And he goes, Brett, pull up that fucking choice route. I go, yeah, bro, I got you. And the GAs know what's going on, right? Because they were out of practice. All the other guys are kind of staring at their computers with that little half smile.
Act like they're working, but really,
act like they're
ears
working.
are pinned.
Exactly. Act like they're
I've
working.
been there all the time, yeah.
And so, but they're not. They're listening intently to what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I don't turn around. I'm just going on my computer as he's standing beside me. And so I bring up the choice route, and he goes, I knew it. I fucking knew it. You could break out, or no, you could break in. And so then I'm like a GA, you got to know your role, right? So I'm very respectful. I go, I think coach was talking about if the Sam's inside here, we want to break out. If he's outside, we want to break in. See, it's like an option. You have choices. And I go through this whole 3-minute, I think I'm killing it, right? I'm killing it. As he was screaming at me, and I'm going to calm down. I'm going to calmly explain to him what the route is. And so about 3 minutes into it, I realized I don't hear anything, and he had left. The GAs, he didn't even stay for 1 second of the explanation. The GAs were dying because I was sitting there explaining it all timidly and nervous, and he was just gone.
That's fucking awesome. That's awesome.
So that's we have a little group chat with those guys still. So anytime anybody screw up, we say, bring up that fucking choice route.
That's pretty cool.
Brew, it's a choice route. You can break in or out.
You guys run it correctly the next day?
Yeah, hey, still one of our I brought it. Yeah, still we call it Butcher at Linfield. You might have heard of it. Yeah. So that was
that out of? Would you guys run that out of empty, and you guys had the choice against the 3?
Yeah, well, we ran out of empty. This specific one was an RPO, so it was,
Gotcha.
you get palms or whatever, cover 8. You want to break it anyway. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Love you, Brew. Brew was a character.
Got a lot of those, man. Got a lot of those. You go into a game. Okay, big hypothetical here. You go into a game. You can only run one formation for that whole game. What formation is that?
Probably 3-by-1 tight end and a hip. Yeah, it helps declare a little bit. If it's either that or empty, but I don't know if you can be an empty the whole game. I mean, I guess you could, but
yeah.
I
think I got that from you because I asked that question to another coach earlier, and I think you were the one that said that some years back, and I was like, I freaking love that because you can see if the corner adjusts over, right? If the corner doesn't adjust, and you have the run game back to the tight end side, you put him in the fit, or you leave him as a tackler.
2-by-2,
okay, sorry.
Hide the coverage so much better.
Yeah.
3-by-1, tight end in the hip gives you so much versatility. You can do all your stuff off of it: sprint, play action, base run, whatever you want.
Yeah. Sorry, you going 3-by-1 nub trips, or are you going?
No. 3-by-1, right? Tight end in the hip.
Okay, got you.
So I thought part of the core, but he's off the ball, right?
I thought you were talking about nub trips. I got excited. Trey Ram, yep, the old Linfield verbiage right there.
Yep.
I got excited. I thought I was on the same wavelength as you, man.
I like trips though too. Trips is good.
Yeah. Advice to younger self.
Don't take things so personally. Going back to my first story, I took that really personally, and I've talked to Mullen since then, and it wasn't personal. It was Brian was a great candidate. Obviously, you can only have 2 quarterback coaches, and so that would be my biggest piece of advice. Don't take things personally. Whether it's even as a GA, I had a pretty successful professional career, and these guys are screaming at me and dude, who are you? What? Kind of had that reaction a little bit initially. I learned the game to play the game. I think that's the way you need to coach. No, I don't treat younger guys like that. But, that was their job. I took it personally when I first got there and was kind of bucking up, don't talk to me like that, So that would be the number one thing. And I spent a lot of anger cells in those instances that I probably didn't need to, and just, shrug it off. Probably that would be the biggest piece of advice, whether it's getting hired or fired or getting yelled at or having your guys screw up. I had a hard time with that early on. It was guys aren't doing it the way I'm teaching it and wanting it. And I would take that personally. And obviously I want to be the best coach I can be, but at the same time, you can give them so much, but then at the end of the day, they got to be able to execute it. And so that would be my biggest piece of advice.
Do you think that actually how you perceived that may have helped you? Because I'm kind of the same way. If I got motherfucked, I took it personal. But at the same time, it was kind of a fire under my ass as far as, okay, I'm going to go do this better so I don't get motherfucked again.
Yeah,
100%. And I just, kind of stick the finger back to him. Okay.
100%. 100%. Because, as a GA, most of the times you're getting yelled at are because of drawings, right? Something that's not even really football related, right? I'm I know more football than you guys. I can't draw on Visio as well, but... Yeah, it made me become very good at Visio. I'll tell you that. I spent I worked at it because I didn't want to get yelled at. So I do think there's some benefit to that, but at the same time, the way the message comes across doesn't always need to be as negative as I've seen in coaching, I guess, if that makes sense.
What are you most excited for this as your first season as a head coach here?
Yeah. Golly, what am I not excited for? No, I'm just excited. I'm excited for day one of training camp. I just can't wait to see all the guys, with our class, meshing with our older guys and watching these guys ball. That's the main thing, is getting these guys back together. Division III level, especially at Lewis and Clark, because we have so many guys that are out of state, more so than Linfield, where you're away from them for so long. So that's I miss my boys. So I'm excited for that. Obviously, I'm excited to go back to Linfield. That'll be fun. Play there. It'll be different for my wife and kids. They'll have to sit on the other side of the stadium, but no, I'm excited. I'm excited to get the guys back, start camp, and just get in the routine of it. Just get in the routine. That's something that I love. Showing up in the morning, and this is what we're doing, and get in the routine of it, and fall in love with the process. And so that's the number one thing, is probably getting the guys back.
I'm a recruit coming out of Hawaii.
Yeah,
my got a family got about 5,000 EFC.
okay.
I remember those EFC
Yeah,
days.
oh yeah.
Right, financials are going to be a little hard.
Yep.
Obviously, Lewis and Clark, great academic school.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to pitch it to me and my folks on why Lewis and Clark should be the right destination for myself.
Well, number one is the location, right? And so when you go to get a job, 95% of the jobs you're going to get are from connections from people. So what our location enables you to do is able to have access to all these Fortune 500 companies within 20 minutes. So whatever field you're looking to get into, whether it's the medical field, we got OHSU right up the hill. Okay, now you're around the best in the country at what they do, and you can get an internship, you can work there. Whether it's commercial real estate, I got a bunch of friends that are in that business downtown. Once again, you want access to that, you're going to meet them, you're going to have a relationship with them, and shake their hands, and now you're coming out of college with a connection made there. Number one, location. Number two, our grad placement. So this day and age, how much does just a basic college degree mean? I don't know. Daddy. Hold on one second. Sorry, young.
I want to say hi.
Let me see. What's up, buddy? How are you?
This is my Y Yams right here.
Hey. You going golfing with Dad later?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, we're playing 18 holes.
How old are you now? 5. I know. I was going on the Instagram prior to this. He has a hell of a swing, man.
He does, dude.
He has a hell of a swing.
He does. He does. He likes to swing, don't you?
What's your favorite sport right now?
Golf.
Smart man. Smart man. I don't watch a lot of golf, but I'm starting to get into it a little bit more, and I think it's just cool, the dynamic that.
Oh my gosh.
And just the publicity that Scotty Scheffler's been receiving, and his dynamic with his kids, man. I just
He's
think
so great, dude. I love.
Freaking beautiful.
I tear up every time when he does his little celebrations with kids. It's amazing. It's amazing. All right, buddy, I got to finish.
Okay.
Love you. Sorry about that. What?
No, you're good. You were recruiting me.
Recruiting you, yes. And then the education you're gonna get, the job placement. So we're at, when you get a new job, right? What do you want? Some stats. Give me some stats about the school. I'm a stat guy. So the number one stat that I love is 98% of our students who graduated from 22 to 24 within 6 months either had a full-time job, either had graduate program, or in the service industry like Peace Corps, Teach of America, right? And so that's where we put our money where our mouth is. And so you come here and you graduate, you got a 98% chance of achieving what you want to be achieving. And so I think those are the two things academically, professionally, is that you're going to set yourself up. Our support system is going to help you set yourself up for a big time future, whatever you want to do. And in the football aspect, you're going to be part of something great, something that's never been done. The trajectory's there. In the last couple of years, we've been 4-3 in conference after being, to be quite honest, not a great program for a while. And so you've seen the trajectory. The roster sizes increased from 75, I think it was in 2019, to we're at 108 now, which is the sweet spot where you want to be, where you got enough depth to make it through the season. You don't have 140 guys where guys are not getting reps and not getting developed. So the combination of that, where you're going to be able to set yourself up for the future, unbelievable opportunity. The stats back it up. You just got to do your part, and then combined with doing something really special in the football world, where we're going to run a competitive program. You're going to get developed, you're going to get pushed, but at the same time, you're going to get the love and support that you need I think that's the perfect recipe is you're grinding, you're facing adversity, and we might create some of that adversary to push you, but then at the same time, without that love and support, you're going to have a resentful program. Too much love and support, you're going to have a soft program. So I think it's that nice mix where you're getting the support, but at the same time, you're facing the adversity to make you grow.
It's a great answer, Coach. We had this debate in the GA room. You can pick 3 positions.
Yeah.
All of them, all conference players or all American or better.
Ooh, I like this.
And I think it's a little different depending on the level you do it, high school, college, NFL. Right. What are those 3 positions that they're going to be your impact?
Yeah, I got you. Specifically for us, you're going to have to go center. Okay, center.
Is he calling it a lot? Is he calling the protections?
Are you going 3? You're going 3? So now you're going to make me choose between offense and defense, majority here?
Yeah, you're head coach, man. You're going to need it. You get pass rusher, shutdown corner. You get 3.
All right, so I'm going center, I'm going quarterback, and I'm going strong safety, like your run fit safety. Reason being, center, you got to call everything. You lead the show. You're running the show. You're making sure all 5 guys are in tune. Obviously, quarterback, you're running the whole show. And then I say the strong safety because they can be so dynamic, especially at scouting defenses for so long. The good, strong safeties are the ones that give you the most trouble. The Troy Polamalu's, the guys that can get down in the box dirty, but at the same time still play the pass because.
Are you saying that from a quarterback perspective? Because that's what you're keying for the most part?
Secret, yes. Too many of my secrets away, but that is 100% right. That's who you're keying, and a guy that can make it confusing, a guy that has the explosiveness to be able to do both, play the pass and run. Those are the guys. We're trying to take advantage of that guy. So if you have a really good guy there, that makes it tougher. What was yours? I'm curious what yours. What was the consensus?
For college, I think I said quarterback. I think at the college level, by far, that is the biggest separator and. I think a quarterback can obviously level the playing field for a lot of positions, even if you're at a deficit at a lot of positions. So I said quarterback. I think I said lockdown corner or shutdown corner. That way you just don't have to go 2 over 1 on the backside if they got a solid X. And then I think I said it was the edge rusher, a solid edge rusher.
Yeah, edge rusher.
My playing days, it was Alex Hoff, it was Sam Riddle, and it was Kyle Belcher. And you felt really good about all those things, and all those things kind of added up. And so it's a little biased kind of speaking from experience there from what I played, and that was kind of the team that.
No, edge rusher, you can talk me into that. That's definitely a detriment to an offense is having a good.
This is usually the segment where I asked, my daughter has a question for the Anela Question of the day, but she took a bad fall yesterday. So I wanted to ask dad to dad, especially with your daughters, because you have 3 daughters?
3 daughters, yes.
3 daughters. So when your daughter takes a bad fall or gets a boo-boo or gets hurt, what does that process look like? Because when she fell yesterday, I think it was around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, her whole day was over. It was ruined. So talk to me about how do you get them back on the saddle? She's turning 4 next month.
Okay.
Early
August. 4 is different. 4 is, you're not quite 2. 2, you got to be like, that's where I'm at right now. A little I don't know if you have these, but we have these little boo-boo ice things. We have one like a Peppa the Pig, and we have
we got.
And so that kind of helps put a little smile on their face. I don't know how much the ice helps. It's not that cold, but they like that process of it. So you start with that, sit them down, wherever the boo-boo is, get out the Peppa the Pig ice, whatever, icy thing, and then you put it on the spot that's hurting, right? And then you distract. Distraction's huge. Whatever it may be, whatever's around you. Pencil, cereal box, right? Try to stay away from the iPad. But whatever's around you, you try to distract and get the attention away from the boo-boo. That doesn't work, right? Then you break out the iPad. You try to do everything.
A little 3-step process there.
That iPad is dangerous. They get way into that thing. So I try to stay away from that. That's the last resort. But I know
driving to Montana, I'm sure you busted it out driving to Montana, though.
Oh, we had the strict rules. Yeah, we did. We had about an hour on, right? And then, we're putting it down. No, we played some games, though.
What'd you guys do?
Grandma's Trunk? You were playing Grandma's Trunk?
No, what's in Grandma's Trunk?
Grandma's Trunk, I put a Lewis and Clark hat. And then you go. Grandma's Trunk, I put a Lewis and Clark hat. It's a memory game. Lewis and Clark hat and some iPad or earphones. So we played some of those games, but no. As they get older, right? Then slap on the ass. Okay, right? It's not that bad. You gotta get real with them.
Yeah.
You can't be distracting anymore. So that's where my 13 and 11 are at. You just gotta, hey, Slap on the ass, get up, you're okay, right? Usually that works for the older ones, but younger ones, you got to distract, whatever it may be.
That's a good answer. We had those ice packs in the freezer yesterday, and see, I was in the heat of the moment. I didn't have a contingency plan ready, and it caught me off guard, and I faltered yesterday. I
Yeah,
did not
well,
I did not
living
do a
and
good
learning.
job. I did not do a good job. So kind of going into team dynamics. What does the word team mean to you?
Team together. Honestly, it means together. We're working for the same goal. I don't have any fancy acronyms. To me, it means you're working the same common goal together. And like I said earlier, that's why I fell in love with the sport. Was that team aspect? How it really does count. You count on everybody to do their job, and it's even more rewarding when whatever you're doing, whether you're playing football, whether you're building Legos, right, or whether you're building a house. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're doing, if you're doing it with somebody else and you achieve a common result, it's one of the more rewarding feelings you can have in life. And so that's what I try to preach to our team, and doing it together, whatever it may be, and working to your best ability.
So you had to build an identity and a culture for the offense when you called it as an offensive coordinator. How is that different from building an identity and a culture for the whole team now that you're the head coach?
Yeah, good question. There's a lot of similarities, in terms of just the details of it and how what we're talking about, right? And still, as an offense, we want to be competitive. We want to develop guys. It just takes it to a broader level. So I think you got to get a little bit out of the specifics of it and to a more broad level for your team. It's kind of the approach that I've taken. I'm not a huge quote board. It's hard to remember all those acronyms and all that stuff. But when I played, that's not why I played, was for quotes. And, I played for the guys next to me. And so I envision most guys are like that. There's not a saying you're going to do, tell me that I'm just going to make me play harder. I think some of those like sayings are good to have to keep your eye on the prize, right? And if you're getting distracted and outside influences, they're good to have because they keep you focused. But at the end of the day, I preach love your brother, and I want them spending time with each other. That's how you become close. So whatever it may be, we're a 3-on-3 basketball tournament after spring ball, community service, just where guys are in the weight room, guys are around each other, facing adversity together. I think that's important. Shared adversity and shared overcoming adversity. That's how you become tight and grow as a team. I don't think it's because you have cool quote boards. So that's I guess my philosophy of the team is I narrow it down to competitive and being competitive and developing. And I think you keep it simple. I was told a long time ago too, like the less team rules you have, the more flexibility you have. So don't put yourself in a corner with all these team rules where you're going to have to make a decision you don't want to make or go back on your word. So I guess for future coaches, you kind of keep it broad in the team rule category so you have some flexibility. I don't know if that's a great thing to say, but
No, I think that's good.
it's effective.
Yeah.
And you find yourself in less trouble than you would be if you had all these specific rules where you had to make decisions because each player got a 3-page rule booklet when they got here. Be a good person, man. Be a good person. Take out the trash. Those are our team rules.
There you go. Don't know who's calling it yet.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you foresee yourself? And I guess you did it in spring ball.
Yeah.
How was it like? Hey, we had a bad day on offense, but the defense did really good. What's that conversation look like at the end of practice when you got your ass kicked against the defense?
That was definitely people ask what the biggest adjustment was. That was that first practice.
Yeah.
Because I'm just getting pissed. The offense not doing well, but then
Defense did good. I got to love.
I know. Well, that's my point. I had this eye-opening realization that holy smokes, our defense is doing great. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm running over there high-fiving the DBs after they get picks. And I'm like, this is weird. I ended up getting into it. Jumping up and giving the shoulder tap for the sacks. That was different. It didn't come naturally, if you can understand that.
No, definitely.
So that was different. I felt like by the end of the spring, I kind of it's starting to come naturally now.
Talk to me a little bit about practice structure, something that you like that you do now or that, you've done with teams in the past, as far as maybe it's some sort of crossover, good on good type thing, or something that you do indies or drill wise that you really like that, you wish you did at a younger age, or you don't mind sharing with the coaches out there who are listening.
Yeah, going back to our developmental program aspect of it, that we want to be In order to develop, we do a whole bunch of indies. Probably more so. I think our guys were a little bit shocked when I got here and how much indie time we had in the spring. And I'm a big believer in that, and a big believer in the 10,000 hour rule. And that's how you get good at things. You just do it over and over and over again. I don't want guys with 20 different individual drills for their positions. I think that's a waste. Then you're not doing it over and over and over. You're doing a bunch of things sometimes. Have your core of 6 drills that you're doing and have our guys get really good at them. So that's probably in the spring, it's still different than the fall, right? Spring, it's going to be more individual based. In the fall, obviously we can't spend quite as much time doing our individuals, but we'll do more team stuff. I'm a big believer in good on good, right? I think that was something that was a little different at Linfield that I really wanted there was having at least one period a day where you're getting. It doesn't matter what the coverage is, right? It might not be what you're going to see during the week, but getting that good speed of the game against starters versus starters, whether it's 7-on-7, whether it's the blitz pickup period, whatever it may be, to go a whole week just going against scout team, which is not quite full speed, where now the games you get there, oh, geez. You want the games to slow down for your guys. And so at least once a day, we'll do some sort of good on good. And, you never know. I mean, teams come up with new stuff during the week, so you got to be prepared for stuff that you're not practicing. And it's a good way for coaches as well to test some of their schemes against good, I mean, we all know it's scout team. If you're trying to run a curl flat read, right, and that flat curl flat defender doesn't suck down on the flat, we start screaming at the scout team, right? Well, that's not always how it works out. And so, I think I'm a big believer in good on good. And then there's this systematic teaching. I'm a big believer in that. So like our fall camp, we're going to have our meetings. We're going to install it. We're going to go out. We're going to walk through it in the morning. We're going to eat some lunch. We're going to come back. We're going to run it full speed at practice. Then at night, we're going to watch it, right? And so that systematic way of teaching, I'm a big believer in and strive as much as we can to follow.
Yeah, just going back to your good on good comment, and like two sides, I see both sides of the coin because obviously I played in it. And, I think that's honestly what made us pretty good when we were at Linfield. We just took, for better, for worse, we had 140 reps of, with scout team. Yeah. But then going to Boise State, going to Oregon State, like to start the practice fast, whether it was after dynamic or after our special team circuit, we called it fastball, we called it NASCAR. So you're just simulating a tempo offense. And the nice thing, it works at the college level as opposed to the high school level because you got guys playing both ways. But 1s and 2s, you get 4 to 5 plays, and you're just trying to go as fast as you can. So I like that because it's a good on good crossover, and then it just got the guys moving fast.
Yeah, start off with something
got
good.
The competition.
Line, right? Yeah. Boom, put the ball down right after stretch. Exactly.
Did you guys do that decent amount?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll kick off practice with something good. That's something we did. I know Mullen was big on that. Something I took from Mullen was, get the practice started off with some juice. Get the guys fired up. It's also unexpected, right? So you're practicing for game situations where it's like sudden change. Right? All of a sudden, boom, offense, defense got turnover. We're out on the field. You don't have that couple minutes to prepare like you normally do in a series with sudden change, and so that's what you can simulate as well.
Yeah, no, I like that. We did that for bowl prep for Notre Dame, kind of in transition between both the coaches, Coach Kafense Hinson, the Willamette guy. He's now with the Bucks right now.
Is that right?
But he's with the interim. He was the interim head coach, and I can't remember if he shared it with the coordinators or if he shared it with the coaching staff. But he said, hey, every practice, I'm going to blow the whistle 3 times, and I'm going to come up with this situation, whether it be a 4th down, whether it be like you said on the goal line, you got one play, and I think it was just cool to. Everyone on their toes, and just like you said, man, there's some sudden change in practice, which is going to happen in the game, and it was a good replication of that. And if it was a dull practice at that point leading up, like it was a good freaking, hey, let's get reset, let's get everyone back on track.
And it goes back to my philosophy, coach. In terms of our team philosophy, it goes back to competitiveness, having our guys compete. In the middle of practice, suddenly compete. That's something that I think that's important. You have winners and losers, and it goes back to what I tell our recruits. We're going to teach you winning and losing, and that's part of life. You're going to go for a job. There's going to be another person competing for it, and you're either going to win and you're going to get the job, or you're going to lose and not get it. And so we want our guys training to go get that job.
Yeah. How do you go about creating healthy competition within the team? Because obviously you want some fucking edge and you want some back and forth and chippiness, but at the same time, you got to kind of toe that line, man, so you guys can stay focused and be productive and not fall off the guardrails.
Yeah, no, it is a fine line. It is a fine line, especially during practice, right? I mean, it's easy outside of practice. We have a fundraiser, a dial-a-thon, right? All the names are going to be up there, so everybody's going to see, who's winning, who's getting the most money, weight room, right? Who's going to lift the most weights, who's going to challenge, improve the most, right? Without it being really detrimental, like what you're talking about is on the field, where you got a competitive situation, you want guys competing, but you don't want that safety taking the receiver's head off across the middle, and so that goes back to the love and support of it, and if you love and support your teammates, and being a great teammate, then you're going to compete, but you're going to compete to a point where you're not putting your brothers at risk, and so that's something that we talk a lot about in terms of practice, mentality, practice habits, how we practice and we stay healthy, because it's no good to take out our best receiver just because you want to win the rep. So you're combining kind of the immediate competitiveness with keeping in mind the team's long-term goals, and that can become a fine line. I don't have a magic answer for that. It's just stressed over and over and over again, right? Where you get them to try to get the guys to the point where they love and respect each other so much where they'll do it on their own. They're not going to take that cheap shot because they love that guy. I played at Utah. Quick story. My freshman year, a senior receiver was Steve Smith, the old Carolina Panthers receiver, right? I love Steve.
He's not bad. He's not bad.
He's
freaking awesome.
He was awesome. I still remember him getting the crowd going for his punt returns. I mean, he was a showman. He was awesome. It's no wonder he's doing TV now. But I don't know if a lot of our team, especially on defense, liked Steve. I think they respected him. But Steve could talk. He could talk, and he could talk and talk and talk, and he'd let you know what was going on. And so it was not a great situation. I mean, our defense wanted to kill that man. I mean, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but that was not I noticed that as a young player, this is not a culture that our guys love and respect each other. They might respect him. I don't know if they loved him, and so it was nuts. I mean, there'd be a fight a day because someone would try to take a cheap shot on him. So I learned that two things I learned as a young player, right? And I didn't have to see the inner workings of the coaching staff, what they were trying to do with it all. I just know that it wasn't a good situation. The other situation, and it hurt our team. It really did. There was a big divide between the offense and defense. And as a young player, I didn't know I wanted to be a coach then, but I knew this was not okay, right? This is not something that promotes winning and cohesiveness. The other situation that I was a part of as a young player was a quarterback situation where you had a quarterback battle going on, and it absolutely ripped the team apart. It was my freshman year. Everything, my freshman year was kind of eye-opening. It got better from there, but there was a guy, a quarterback from Hawaii, who was a starter, got hurt a bunch. Another quarterback, a local kid from Salt Lake. He had played when the other guy got hurt, and there was a dramatic divide in the locker room between the Hawaii guys, whoever was supporting the Hawaii quarterback, whoever was supporting the local quarterback, and it just wrecked our team. It was not a good situation. I remember saying vividly to another quarterback, a younger guy in the room, that if I ever coach, you got to eliminate this, because it really divided the team. So I don't know where I got on that point, but those are kind of two things I noticed.
Were the coaches kind of blind to what was going on? Were they naive to it, or
blind, or just didn't know how to handle it? I don't know. But I would say it cost us at least 2 wins, to be honest, in closeness. I think you're going to get 2 or 3 wins a year based on your team's character, and I think it really cost us because we were talented. So those two things I really learned as a young player. Like, even though I didn't know I wanted to become a coach, that's not how you do it. And so those are things that I've made a very strong point in my coaching career of making sure to nip that in the bud as soon as if I ever see anything like that. If a receiver starts talking a whole bunch of trash and is acting all brash, shit, get in his face, tell him to knock it off, or you're going to get your head knocked off. Instead of, I think what happened was Steve just was allowed to kind of be himself, and so it obviously irritated the defenses. And then obviously quarterback situation, every year, I tell that story to quarterbacks every year about my freshman year. And I give them that education. I say, listen, it's a weird position, man. It's the weirdest position in sports. Like I said at the beginning of this interview, with Alex, where you're sitting there, you love him, but at the same time, you're only getting in if he fails. And so it's a unique situation, but you have to be able to handle that. And I can help you handle that. And I can be your sounding board if you need it, but you cannot be going to your teammates and talking about how I should be starting or this guy should be starting, because I really believe that's one of the biggest detriments to a team, offense and a team.
Oh, that's a great answer, Coach. I love that you had those 2 examples right there to kind of share with us. Situation. What's a situation that you think gets overlooked within football that you frickin' drill the shit out of, or at least practice a decent amount?
Second and long. Like out of phase. Like you get out of phase, a holding call. Or as a defense treating it like third down.
Yeah.
How are they treating it? That's something I look a lot for. And then just play calling in terms of managing and getting it back to a manageable third down. That's the thing that I think gets overlooked. You work a whole bunch of third down, red zone, right? Your 1st and 10, your tempos. But when you get off phase, inevitably you're going to have a holding call. You're going to have a sack. You're going to have something where you get off phase on the offensive side, and I guess defensive side where you're working, the offense being out phase. That's an area that I think gets overlooked. The high red zone. So we work a lot in the past and inside the 10, but really get to that 12, 13 yard line.
25 to 15? Okay.
Yeah, kind of like 12 to 25 range where you're, especially third down, you get to third and goal, I think the hardest down for an offense is third and goal from the 8, where you're forced to pass against obviously limited field where you can't stretch it as much. So that's an area we work a bunch because it's probably the hardest, I think, in my mind. But you get out of phase.
How much
gets overlooked? What's that?
No, that's a good. Yeah. I never heard that one before. That's a good. It's good insight right there. How much do you foresee yourself going scripted versus call-up periods when you do crossover good on good?
We'll script everything except for scrimmages usually. So even good on good, we'll script. Just because you're so limited in your field time. We're not going to be on the field for 3.5 hours. We want to be efficient in what we do, and so in order to be efficient with what you do, I think it needs to be scripted to make sure you get the right place. Scrimmage situations are huge for coordinators. I remember when I was a coordinator, I think it's massive just to get used to finding plays, getting the flow of calling plays. But in practice, we'll script everything except for the sudden change things, right? Sudden change is same thing. I'll use that as a tool for coordinators to help them come up with plays on the fly, where they have to think about it. But no, I'm a big believer in scripted practice because you want to do what you're limited in reps and you want to make sure you get the most out of them.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, as a head coach, you have the responsibility to make sure that the team is on track and then you're growing and developing the team. But I do firmly believe that it's also your responsibility to help grow and develop the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you more excited about, the team aspect or developing the coaches aspect?
We just lost our D-line coach. I say that with a smile because I'm really happy for him. He actually just went to Claremont McKenna, got a full-time job there. He played at Lewis and Clark, Sam Minard, love him. Very pumped for that opportunity for him. So I tell our guys all the time, so D3 level, right? We have 3 full-time coaches and then myself, and so it's filled in with a lot of part-time guys, kind of like you were doing at Linfield, right? And so I tell them all the time, I want to see you for a year, maybe 2, and I don't want to see you again. My job is to get you guys into this profession, getting you into the doors, places, and that's I feel a tremendous responsibility for that. And so I love that you asked that question because that is something about the head coaching aspect that I didn't really have as a coordinator that I'm really excited about is the hiring and the staffing of our program and then seeing the guys grow. Start from Sam was a newbie. Obviously I didn't have him last year, but seeing a guy like you, right, come from playing, kind of just getting your feet wet, not knowing what's going on, what a huddle breakdown is, how to input data to see them having a coaching podcast now. It's pretty cool.
Talk to me a little bit about, I guess, your vision for, establishing a shared leadership within the Pios football program and how you're going to go about implementing your captain process if you haven't done so already.
So our captain process, we're going to do what we call a leadership committee. I got this from Urban Meyer. I thought it was really effective. Essentially, each class is going to be represented by 3 to 4 guys, and they'll vote on that. So essentially, your seniors will have 3 to 4 captains, right? Your juniors, sophomores, freshmen. And they're kind of the representative of the class. And so we'll meet with those. I'll meet with those guys once a month or, however much we need to. They'll help make decisions on things from gear. What gear do we want? What color gear? What are we going to eat when we travel to Pomona? What do we want to do? Where do we want to eat? We want to watch a movie. What's a Friday night activity? But they'll also be in charge and responsible for managing their class. And so I'm a big believer in stopgaps. You got essentially me, right, overlooking it all. Then you got your coordinators overlooking their sides, and then you have position coaches really responsible for their positions. And then you put some ownership on the players and the representatives of their class. And so you have 4 to 5 different stopgaps to help guys fall through the cracks because we know 108 guys is tough to manage sometimes. And so the more stopgaps you have where you're able to snuff out problems before they get too big, is huge. And so that's why we have the leadership committee. I think that's important for if guys don't want to go to a coach, you're a freshman, you're nervous for some reason. I hope that's not the case, but you don't want to go to a coach, you got a representative from your class to go to and talk to. Captain-wise, I don't know how I'm going to do game day captains. I guess it falls in line with the boards. I think it's kind of overrated. Guys know who the captains and leaders are on the team. Guys know who the alpha dogs are. I'm sure we'll throw out some guys, but I put much more stock in the leadership committee that's day by day than game day captains.
I wish I thought about this a little bit more before I thought about it prior to coming on or while we're talking. Little game of smash or pass, okay?
Oh God.
I'm just gonna give you a situation. Just gonna give you a situation. Smash or pass.
I love it.
Fourth and goal. Ball on the 2. End of game. Down 3. Smash, pass, or I guess kick.
Where does like RPOs fall in line with this? What about a quarterback lead draw with pass options for pressure? So I guess it's hard to give me like a smash or pass there on that one because
let's go RPO is tagged.
A quarterback draw.
Do you tag RPO as a runner or pass? Do you tag RPO as a runner or pass? We tagged it as a run at Oregon State.
For data input?
For data input, it was tagged as a run.
Well, what do you do? What's the result? Does he pass? If he passes, does he pass?
Even if he passed, we still tagged it as a run.
Is that right?
So we can get the tendency numbers on it. Yeah.
Oh, I got you. All right. Well, then how do you find out? How do you find out the tendency of how often they pass on RPOs?
Just a separate data column. If it was pass or something, we just tag the pass route. All right. So you couldn't answer my question. Smash or pass? Can I get the play call? You said Q lead draw here.
Q lead draw with the pass option. So you're right. If they want to pressure it, you got your base 6-man pro. You're throwing off of it. If they want to play whatever red or whatever you guys call that goal line picket fence defense, then you got your quarterback draw.
Okay. No kick option there.
Ask Woodworth about that play.
We don't.
When you talk to Sandberg, ask him about that play.
What year was this?
Pick a year.
Okay. I gotta go frickin' go look at it. All right. I'm trying to think of another smash or pass situation. Okay, here we go. Fourth and 1.
Okay.
Okay, your ball on the -40.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Up 7. Minute 58 left. Smash, pass, punt.
So this is the UW situation when they ran in reverse to a Duze. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Now
we're calling our best Dickham play.
Okay.
So whether it's a pass, whether it's a run, whether it's a best Dickham play, just like UW did. I love that call. The reverse.
Okay. All right. I like it. Is there any, just to kind of conclude it, is there anything that you want to share in regards to coaching, advice, leadership, teaching, anything else you want to share for the good of the order?
Just want to echo, don't take things personal in this business. You're going to get passed over for jobs. You're going to get fired. You're going to get rewarded. You're going to get honors and you're going to have great success. Don't take that personal because what we do is a small part